Hey folks, welcome back to another Timonspodcast. I'm your host, Timon, and this is my podcast, Cool Conversations with Cool Individuals. And man, do I have an awesome conversation today. But before we get to that, let's get to some business, and that is Quiet River Massage and Revival located in Syracuse, Indiana. Jasmine, is my sponsor, and you should definitely check her out. She does massages, 30, 60, 90-minute massages. I would recommend the 90-minute massage. Put yourself in that space to be relaxed, cooled down, just release all that tension that just builds up from the day-to-day life. And Jasmine is the person you should go to. She is excellent. She is a professional. She can do hot rocks, essential oils, all different types of things. She keeps on getting different certifications. She is located in Rich Beauty Parlor. It's in Syracuse. I think it's on Huntington Street, 808 Huntington Street. All of her information is in the links below. Definitely check her out. Follow her on Instagram and tell her Timon sent you. I highly recommend her. Also follow me on Twitter. I'm also doing Instagram and Facebook clips here soon. So when that comes, for sure, be on the lookout. We're doing some cool stuff, some new stuff. So enough of that. Let's talk about today's guests. Yes, there's multiple. I had the crew from Guhzoontyte. They make YouTube videos, Seth, Israel, and Matthias, and it was just great to chat with them, to hear kind of their story, their calling, the different things they're doing. And after the podcast, they showed me some really cool stuff that will be in the future that they're working on. So you're definitely not going to miss this conversation. So enough about me. Enjoy this combo with the Guhzoontyte crew. Bye. Okay, we're live. Whoa. Do you feel the shift?
Yeah.
Now, whatever
it's
you
different.
say, it's so different. Guys, I'm so glad you guys were able to make it here and that we're in this and we're about to have a great conversation. Thank you for switching Friday to today because I needed my rest, and we can talk about that later, but that was really helpful for me. And let me just start here. Hadessa comes to me. Well, I'm at Hadessa's house. And she's like, yeah, I was in a video. And she's just kind of like not really making it a thing. And she's like, I'm like, oh, let's see it. So I watch it and I laugh. And she says it's doing numbers. I'm like, okay. So I watch it and I laugh. And I'm like, this is great. And then a couple weeks later, Hadessa shows me another video of your guys's. And it was the Slow Kids at Play.
Oh, yeah.
And I laughed again. That was a really fun one. So I'm like, I got to get you guys on here. We got to talk a little bit. I went and binged all of your videos.
Okay, did your research?
I did my research, yeah. I did that about an hour ago. But I'm researched up, so it's good. So I've seen a couple of your stuff prior and then binging. It was like, it's really good to see here. So let's start off first. Why don't you each introduce yourself? We'll go from there so the audience can know.
Okay. We should start with the youngest, so that way.
Okay.
So I'm Israel, and I'm the youngest of all the brothers. So, and I'm one of the actors.
Yeah, I'm Matthias, and I'm another brother, and I'm older than Israel. And I have done some of the cameras, like recording, and I've acted in them too.
I'm Seth, Daniel Corbin, and I'm the fourth. So Gabriel wasn't able to be here because we dropped him off at college. And so, who knows, maybe we can give him a call, have him say hello.
Yeah.
But, so goes Israel, Gabriel, Matthias, and me. And so we've been doing a lot of them. Our also the brother above us, Darren. And then our oldest brother, several in between. He's also been in some. And so it's been like a whole family thing. My mom's been in one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really cool to do that. So.
It's been creative, to kind of pull everyone together. So what's your guys' YouTube channel called?
Guhzoontyte.
Yeah. But not spelled. Like
it is spelled completely incorrectly. It's spelled Guhzoontyte.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I'll link those below, so when people want to watch the video or something, just click the link instead of trying to spell it out. What brought this on, to...
So actually, the channel was technically created by Darren and I.
Okay.
We just wanted to make silly videos for no one to actually see, so we purposely made it a very hard word to spell
Yeah.
So it was just like a random word so that we just have a channel name so that we could put stuff in and we could just send like friends, close friends, links or find ourselves and show somebody.
Right.
So we never, it wasn't in order to like actually start
Marketed and
showing for people to actually really see it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people. And so we made a few videos, which none of those videos are actually, they're either not on there or they're privated.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not public anymore. And so that was a few years ago. And so then there was just this one time about a year ago, we were sitting around and I wanted to do a giant skit because it was pretty simple. You just put them close to the camera.
Right.
And so we didn't really have any actual skit to make, but we had giant Uno.
Yeah.
And so...
And like really small Uno cards too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Super tiny.
So it worked out really well. And so we just kind of went for it. And there was this big resistance at first. Mm-hmm. Like it was kind of hard to like work together. And it was kind of like... it was a different resistance than trying to do something that you shouldn't. It was like, it was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But there was a resistance to it starting. And so pushing through that was really rewarding because then it led to more videos. Mm-hmm. And so it was just really interesting how it's like...
That was the first one.
The first one was difficult.
Yeah.
Even though Darren and I had technically made some before, but then it was me and my 3 younger brothers have been making
the giant
videos,
one.
Yeah.
What do you think the resistance was? Like you guys all trying to put your creative flavor into it, or was it more like not like what would you say was the tough part?
I think in the past, like we've worked together before, and we've gotten pretty good at working together, even though we have our differences and stuff. But like, yeah, it felt more of a like the enemy, like didn't want something good to happen. Kind of.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I think partly it's because sometimes the Lord will have you take a break from different things. And so one of those, especially for me, was like acting and videos and like performing and all those things. He kind of like took it away for a while. And so it's like I was kind of really even scared to like go back to it because I was like, am I allowed to do this? Am I just like sinning if I'm doing this?
Yeah,
and so
that's a whole backstory there. Because
yeah,
I mean, when you walked up to the house, I'm like, you've been here before, and you guys had all been here to pick up Tessa and go downtown.
Mm-hmm.
But
back in high school,
Yellow Season premiere. So one of my friends and maybe listeners have heard before, Abe, he's been on the podcast multiple times. Mm-hmm. In 2019, he did a kickoff for his album here at our house, and that's where I saw you. Mm-hmm. And we talked for a while, and you were showing me YouTube videos. I remember you showing me the one where you put the ranch packet in the like plastic, and you like zipped it out, and it was just really satisfying to watch. But it also, I think it got a lot of views. And then the video of you at the fair that summer, you showed me that one.
Cosplay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where you were Stranger Things and walking around. And so you were talking about all of the vlogging and the different video editing you were doing back in 2019. I'm like, dude, you're talented. And so that was really impressive. So yeah, to step back, there's a backstory there. Because you guys just didn't start making videos out of nowhere. Like you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, we've been making like, even when we were little and Matthias had glasses with a strap on the back. So yeah, we've been making little videos. YouTube was a newer thing. I remember when I wanted to start a vlog when I turned 17 into when I turned 18. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And I never ended up putting out all the rest of the videos. So it's like I had like 100 videos out or something. And I wasn't really seeking the Lord. I had a lot of anxiety and I was not treating people well. And so it was
like we all do at 17. No big deal.
I was like, and I was getting super focused on, I was like, how do I even be real? And so basically, instead of being fake on camera and real off camera, I ended up being fake both on camera and off camera. And so cameras were especially a big thing for me, and like feeling weird, like I had to act a different way if there was a camera on. And so basically, after I turned 18, I was like way behind. I didn't have like 100 or so videos out, but I still had like several months of footage, and I filmed a couple of vlogs, even several when I was after I was 18, and I was going to also release those. But then eventually the Lord got a hold of me, and I also had like TikToks. That's what you were talking about, those. And so, but eventually I was like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I actually had some followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
But the Lord was basically like,
Just like that.
he was like, boom. He's like, it seemed like he wanted me to just let it go. And so I deleted my YouTube. Actually, I think it just deleted all the videos. I technically still have the account. It's under a different name, and there's none of those videos, none of those vlogs. I deleted all my vlogs, deleted all my TikToks.
Just purged.
Deleted my TikTok account, deleted my Instagram account, got rid of social media. I was off social media for a while, actually. And so from that, and I think it was kind of around, it was a little bit later on that Darren and I made those videos, but I was still kind of weird about cameras.
Yeah.
'Cause I kind of still like it, but then, anyways.
Well, you spent a year like documenting every single thing. So it probably brings up memories, brings up like all that stuff that you were going through in that. I mean,
it was quite the time.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I mean, the Lord was really gracious in that, because I think he kind of used it to help me. It was something to focus on, because there was so much going on in life too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a crutch, like, and crutches aren't good in a sense. Like, crutches are meant to be gotten rid of.
Right.
And so
they help you heal, but then.
Yeah. And I'm interested in like doing more vlogging, but I want it to be honoring of the people I'm around, and I don't want to try to put things in it that are not appropriate for, like, that are more personal than like should be out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I mean, you see, we've lived in a time where we watch vloggers rise and fall. I mean, and then rise again. You think of Jake Paul, right? When the Suicide Forest, like that was something very intimate, personal, and that was a huge, like, why'd you do that? But it was just pushing it to the max, pushing it to the max, pushing it to the max, getting bigger and crazier, and you know, and if you did that on a local level, like how destructive could that be? Not that you're filming suicides or anything, but you know, if you're
it's just
doing
the personal things. I think that was Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, sorry, Logan.
But they both do vlogs. Oop,
no, that's a great spot. So they both do, yeah.
But yeah, if you don't have the Lord and you don't have a standard to go off of, then it's like you start to think about, oh, like what do I need to get to like keep people's attention, or keep like this or keep that, and you start to think in all these like, I guess, worldly terms instead of in the truth, where it's like it doesn't matter. It's like have enjoyed making these videos, and I'm glad that other people like watching them. But if people are like, oh, you should do this and you should do that, and it's like I don't have peace with that, and I don't like before the Lord, I'm like, this isn't okay, or he's like, that's not okay.
Yeah,
I can't.
Who are you doing this for? Are you doing it for them? Or are you doing it for her?
Yeah, and I have to do it for the Lord, because that's actually better for everybody else and my family and me. Because there's no peace in trying to make content. And not that you're like try to ignore that there's an audience, because they're there and they're real people and they need care too. But if the audience is supposed to be under God too, at least sort of in like, even if they're not seeking the Lord, like that's up to them. But for me, the audience also has to come after the Lord. And so the Lord gets to decide like what's okay, like what's good, because he knows that.
Yeah, he knows what's best for the audience too. Yeah.
Even if they don't, because there's so many times where I get totally off track. So
Yeah.
You see that recurring thing.
I'd say that's a big thing between this YouTube channel and things we've done in the past is like submitting to the Lord and like doing it for his glory. And like there's so many things we've done and just media out there that's like the type of humor that like you laugh but you cringe because you know it's not pure.
Yeah.
And so like that's been a big thing that's been different from what we've done in the past. Like I had because he'd vlogged, I wanted to vlog because he was my big brother.
Right.
So I had a little channel and I recorded stuff. And I think other brothers have done like gaming stuff and stuff. So we've all done like recording, but then we all kind of like threw it away in a way.
Really?
And then when we were little, I just want to go back a little bit. Like our dad had a MacBook, and so we'd make. I feel like it started then. Like we made videos and just recorded ourselves with the MacBook and the filters that were on there.
Yeah.
we just like turn the Mac to like different parts of the like over here or over there. I don't remember if we ever like put it in a different
I don't
spot,
think so.
but usually wherever the Mac ended up, you'd have so many videos of just like that backdrop with us like doing whatever in the front,
Yeah.
like trying to be funny. Like we did like talent shows and like sped it up,
Oh wow.
like all these different things.
Yeah.
So
And then
Yeah.
like we also like acted out like Adventures in Odyssey or just like mouthed out the words.
Oh really?
yeah,
So at a young age, we were doing a lot of like acting stuff just for fun as brothers. But then like as time went on, we like got our own phones and we kind of did our own thing. But then I thought it was cool because this kind of like the Lord brought us all back to do something together. And it was like way better than all the other things we did.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, there's a quality to it, and I think maybe if a year of a video editing, right, you can kind of start seeing angles and shots and way things work, and it's funny. I'm assuming you do a lot of the video, just the filming. Now you said you do some of the filming too.
Yeah.
I think they've all held the camera.
It depends who's
Or have the
acting
iPhone.
because we have a limited crew in some ways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. As far as editing, it's interesting because with the vlogs, because I don't want to be like, oh, it was all terrible and the worst and evil and whatever.
Yeah.
Because like even if it was, God redeems, but also it's not necessarily the case
Oh,
that it
skill
was all
building.
like the worst. Because especially even if just for the skills, like how the Lord has like used that already, and I've been learning more just making these videos recently, and so yeah,
That's
it's cool that He redeems these things.
yeah.
And like going back to the difference between now we're doing it for God, because we used to do it for like the audience. I remember Seth's like first big TikTok, like the umbrella challenge or whatever. He just like held an umbrella and like disappeared. And I remember like checking that all day, and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool!" 'cause it got like 100,000 likes.
Oh wow.
I was just like on it and on it and on
Yeah.
it, and I was like trying to reply to like every single comment,
Keep the
even though
engagement
some people
going.
were like FYP, like For You page, like,
Yeah.
they're like they're not really commenting anything, but yet I'm like trying to like and like respond to everything.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was on it. And
You're
on it and on
it's
it
chasing something that's not really giving you any validation.
because it was such a big like boost, but it's
Right.
like a boost of what? Like
Right.
so.
Right. And not reality. It's just all digital, like spin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super weird.
So the umbrella challenge was your first big one.
That was my first one
Yeah.
that like I guess blew up. And all I did is I crouched behind an umbrella and it made it look like I disappeared up into the umbrella. So I mean it was kind of a cool idea, but like I don't know, it got some attention, and then I had a handful of other ones that got attention, and people reacted to them on YouTube sometimes.
Right.
And so
That's crazy.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. At a pivotal time, like when you're young too, like your
Kind of
formative
dangerous.
years. Yeah. Kind of very dangerous. Wow. Well, let's go back to some of the stuff that you've been creating. How does the creative process happen? Like, they're hilarious. It's so funny.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
I see sometimes like going back again a little bit, but like we just like talk and like say like, oh, this is funny. It's almost a game where you kind of talk to everyone around like a table or something and like almost make up a story in a way. And so like sometimes that can be the start of it. It's like, oh, we could record this. We could make a Guhzoontyte.
Yeah, so sometimes it's funny because not all, like, we'll say like, oh, this could be funny or that could be funny, and we, it's funny, and we then we hit the mics again, and we maybe have a little laugh about it, but like sometimes just be like, we have the time, we have the energy. It's like, it seems like the Lord put it all in place to actually make this idea or that idea into a video.
Oh, wow.
And so it's cool because also knowing that not everything has to be a video and not everything, needs to go how we, like, especially I think it should go or somebody else thinks it should go, because he's the one that leads it. And some of the first few videos I really like because, like, in a badly choreographed fight scene and in
I must be going.
I must be going. And in a few others even, you can hear in the bloopers or the bonus features, if you will, each person, I think in both of those, everybody says something that ends up in the actual video. Because a badly choreographed fight scene, totally different idea. But people are like, oh, this would be great. And it's like, oh, it's like, just pull out another gun and like pull out another one. Do the same thing and like from the ground.
Yeah.
And so it just like forms with like everybody instead of just me being like, no, everybody do this. Or like, they're like, no, that's stupid. Do this.
Right.
It's like actually
You're all
working
adding your
together.
spice into it.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's hard. You're like, oh, I don't want to film this again, or I don't want to, or I don't think that would be funny. But it's like, okay, let's try it, because it's like, yeah, like with the delightful slow motion one.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to film another take, but Matthias came in and was like, here, I'll record, and he said an idea of like just a different way to do it.
Or
He was
another
like-
level
he was
or
like,
something.
try the door each time, and I think it ended up way funnier because it's like I try to open the door and I can't with
Mm-hmm.
So it was like different things like that, and like really it's submitting to the Lord
Yeah.
in that, and he's
putting
like,
away your pride a little bit.
he's like, I've given him an idea that I want in this video.
Yeah.
It's like the Lord's like, I've given Matthias an idea, I've given this, and it's like, okay, not trying to hold on to what I think it should be, because ultimately it's going to end up way funnier
Right.
and a lot more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd say in the last video you made, I think, with the drywall, like I was kind of
stud
like,
finder.
yeah, I was kind of like upset almost because he's cutting out some stuff in the video, and I was like, oh, but that was so funny. But then after I saw the finished product, I was like, oh, that's so much better, and I felt more at peace too.
very much. I can actually describe. I don't have any problem with describing it. Basically, and we did it very safely and like did it very carefully. Like when he knocks on the, and I actually have a cut of this still. When he knocks on the wall, a drywall knife goes right by his head. But it's because we cut and we already had it poking through. We pulled it back,
Oh, nice.
and then like everybody stepped away, punched the knife. Matthias punched the knife through. We're like, we're back. Punched it through. Then Gabriel gets right by it, and then I change the camera angle to make it look like it's really close. He brings the knife back and then punches it back through again. And we did a couple of
Gotcha.
takes slow to make sure.
It
you
was
know.
all, yeah.
And then
You didn't stab Gabriel.
yeah, and then he cuts down the wall, and he has a cue from Israel. Anyways, we're very careful about it, but it's like there was something about, I was like, I don't know about this knife. I didn't really think about it exactly, but I was like, and so I showed my mom the take with the knife, and she thought it was funny, him busting out and everything. But the only thing she brought up was the knife, and I was like, I don't know how to change it, but I think it ended up funnier because he knocks, and then I recorded Matthias saying a few different things, and I thought the one we ended up with was the funniest.
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right, am I willing to submit to the Lord in that?
Yeah.
Because like not trying to always push, because like really I don't think that's anything very intense, but if a younger child sees that,
Right. Are they going
it's
to
like
try to mess
it's impressionable, and so not that it's just so dangerous or it's like so bad, but being sensitive to that, and also most importantly being sensitive to the Lord's will.
Yeah. If there's already a check in your spirit and then it was like confirmed.
Yeah.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
that's-
okay. Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. I was like, all right, if my mom is at peace with it,
Yeah.
then I don't have to worry about it. Or like I'll be like, okay. But if she's not, and I was still a little bit like, oh man.
Yeah. Crud.
And it was also interesting because like even with like this podcast, it's like, you don't have like a massive following and like all these things, but
Yeah.
it's like it's no different in a way from
Yeah.
somebody who does, because I'd want to be able to talk with you and be with my brothers here, like honestly and being open. And so it was like, okay, it's another opportunity to like submit to the Lord, and like, okay, I want to go into this with the Lord and not with myself. Because it was just interesting because those things kind of happened at the same time with the knife and you
At the same time.
inviting us on the podcast.
It's fascinating.
And so I was like, okay, I want to be grounded in this. I don't want to run off and be like, oh, I'm just so great and I just have all these great ideas.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not that's not how it goes. Wanting to be real with you, because growth comes. Every single step is important, no matter how big. Because do not be not ashamed of small beginnings. Do not be. But basically, there's a verse in Jeremiah that talks about small beginnings, and
Well, and you want the root to be good. So if it starts small and there's a little disease there, you'll see it in the plant a lot when it gets way bigger.
That'll grow with it too.
Yeah. So there's something to that.
Yeah, it's wanting to be really careful with that. And so,
well, when I texted you, you're like, "Yeah, let me pray about it." I'm like, that's a good response. You know what I mean? Like most people are like, "Yeah" or "No." You know, or let me think about it. Right?
Yeah, because I wanted to.
I'll get back to you.
Oh,
on
sure. Like this is like I know Timon. Like this would be great. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
But it's like I just realized.
So I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, nice.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But I just realized that I think the Lord is like kind of tapped me on the shoulder. I was like, this is actually a really important step, because growth continues. Like these videos, and not that they have to, but if the Lord has us keep making videos, he's probably going to bring about more growth as well. Like just like your podcast, it's like it might not be, it's probably bigger than when it started. Yeah. But it's like probably can still grow.
Oh,
and
100%.
So,
yeah. Yeah. And then once I want it to be authentic and sustainable. And going back, I see a lot of vloggers. You see the media of people who grow real fast and then topple because their foundation is not secure. It's not good.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember hearing, I went to this, it's called AGAP, which was a nonprofit where you would literally go to these retreats where they take away your phones. Not that you put them on, but it's a gap from technology. So you spend the time not interacting with technology, you just like are in the real with other people. So we did like outdoor things or whatnot, but they would also do these seminars in it where people would talk. And this guy was explaining how when you grow too fast, if you don't have foundation, and foundation comes from just real life experience and living and being grounded with God. But he showed skyscrapers that were built in China and they just built them quickly. And he said, if you look at a skyscraper, you're only seeing 2/3 of the total height, the other 1/3 in the ground. Yeah. In China, they didn't do that. So when any wind came, you saw those just completely topple down. Wow. Huge, magnificent buildings just on the ground because they're not rooted, not grounded. So that's always kind of stuck with me. Like I want to make sure that
that's good.
Everyone has a gift, but if you don't have that maturity, those roots, you could, and we see it in everywhere, pastors who get, fall down, these mega pastors, but they don't have these roots, this deep connection. And you look at Joseph, how many years was he, in prison and a slave before he became second in Pharaoh? He was like literally numero dos over the biggest empire in the world, but he spent so much time just character development. So there's something to that, like being cool with being grounded. And it's not about being numbers, and it'll stick to the right people when it needs to stick, and it'll grow when it needs to grow.
I think it's really neat because even though we've been seeking the Lord's different amount of times, but for me it's only been a few years, and so even though in a way we're all like new and not very wise, like the Lord's been doing a lot, but it's also cool because our combined like wisdom from the Lord has helped with like checks and balances, and so like different times people don't feel all right with something, and so it just helps provide the product that makes it, we're all at peace with it, and it's something that
you're shaping it. Each one
we're
of you
comfortable that people can see it and it be pure.
Accountability. And not that we're like pull out our list and like try to like make sure it passes our check box. It's just like with my mom, she's like, because she wasn't like, I don't think you should post this or post that. She was just like kind of like asking about the knife, and I was like, it was like, okay, the Lord got me on that, and now he's confirming it. And so it's like, and it was weirdly hard. It was harder than I thought it would be, because I was like, oh yeah, it's like, okay, I have this caution about this knife, so I can just take it out if I want. But when it actually came to doing it, there was like that resistance again.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Well, and how much did you do to just make sure that that shot was really cool and to like work through all? I mean,
and
put
like we
time-
were safe and like all these things, and we have some footage so that it's like you could tell that like we didn't do it, you know.
Right.
And so, and it could also be that maybe in some context that can be released,
Yeah.
but not right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
That's
up to the Lord.
crazy. How many like just like USB or hard drives do you have just of film?
Not actually that much.
Okay.
Usually, for the most part, if we film a project, it usually gets posted. Like we have two. I have two in the works right now. Where it's like we filmed it. The one's mostly edited, I think. I'm thinking about changing the ending, like adding on to the ending. The other one's filmed. It's a pretty simple one with Israel. It was just us. We like just held the camera back and forth.
Nice.
But there has been one which we made, and it was just kind of weird. Like we thought of a something very similar that just would have been better, but it was just kind of like off. And so we're like I got all the way through, I edited it and like had it pretty much done, and it was like it seems empty. And so we just deleted it. And it was sad because my oldest brother Lazaire's wife, Yessie, it was going to be the first video she was in. So Hadessa's been in a video before she has. And she was like, she was kidding. But
yeah, but still.
and so it's like, because I'd like her to be in a video.
Right.
But I also know that I can't try to force it because it has to be the Lord. And so whenever the Lord has her be in a video, it's going to be hilarious. Yeah, it's going to be great. So I have to wait on the Lord. And that was another thing actually about this skit in Pennsylvania with my cousin Andrew.
Okay. Was that the slow? Okay.
Yeah. So
Slow Kids at Play.
yep, his channel is You Laughed, I Made It Funny, or just I Made It Funny, because it's family spelled backwards.
Oh, okay.
And so, because we saw that he was making some videos, and we thought it was great. It was really funny for us because like we know like the stuff that can go in behind making it. And so we were just praying about it, just like not wanting to force it, but really wanting to make something. Like I really want to go out there because we went and visited, and we really wanted to go out there and make a video. And I don't know if it was mostly me, but I was there, and I was like, Lord, I really don't want to force this. I really don't want to try to make something happen. So it was just interesting because there was a lot of ideas that were like, it was like boom, 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 all these ideas, and some of them were pretty funny, but some of them were kind of hard to like put into a video, and they weren't quite complete.
And there's one time when we were sat down and we were almost going to start recording, but then some more of our family arrived, and we're like,
And
it
so
just wasn't the time.
Went off to that, and so it's like not resisting that either, and just being content with that stuff, like real life going on, because making the videos is also a part of real life for us, but it's just a small part, and it's a part we enjoy, and it can also be a challenge and a frustration and different things, but I'm really grateful for it. But then there was just this one idea that I think Andrew had, and then it slowly, and I think I ended up taking like a nap that day, and then I came back. I took a long nap because I went on a long run that morning, and I just like crashed around lunchtime. But anyways,
Pennsylvania carbs.
they'll get you. It just kind of like came about, and like we started just like the different ideas came together.
Started the flow, huh?
And so it was kind of like everybody again having some different things, and then we like threw Darren in there. We just thought that would be hilarious if he was like
It's on the back of the
hidden on the
motorcycle.
back. Yeah.
It's like, where'd he come from?
And it's cool because when people add ideas, if it's just one person's idea, usually it's just like a lot more simpler. But then if people add ideas, it like adds layers to how funny it is. And even if they're small, they like make a big difference, and it's really cool to watch people react to it.
Yeah.
There's like different you said flavors earlier. There's like different like types of humor in there, and it all kind of melts together. And also like having like Israel and Gabriel Matthias, like the way they act, that adds to it. And then the different way that Andrew does, and then like Darren, and then just like cutting it all together, it was just I kind of wrote some of it in the description because he posted it we posted it on his channel, and I just put like a bloopers behind the scene
Right.
thing on mine and just linked it. And in that, I kind of wrote some about it, like, because it was a really big like literally a blessing and literally an answer to prayer, even though it's just this funny video.
Right.
It's just a funny video, and yet it was such a huge thing.
It all flow together. And you
Yeah.
were probably trying to make this triangle fit in the square and in the circle, and then finally it fits in the triangle spot. It's like, this is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
I take it.
it was really good. It was really cool.
Those were probably my most favorite videos we've done, is the ones in Pennsylvania. Just
Yeah.
being able to do it with family and on our uncle's farm. And
Was
stuff.
the cow one also in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
not Sally or Sally. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. Sorry, I gotta
Go for it. Take it
up
off.
already.
Do it.
Getting warm.
You might want to actually.
Oh wait. I don't know what I was thinking.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one, and the stud finder was pretty funny, and the twists of I'll get back to you. Like that was, there's so many twists in that one, and then the dog at the end. I'm like, oh my god,
That's probably the most CGI we've had.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's actually quite a few where I do a little bits of like rotoscoping or keyframing and different things.
Okay.
So it's cool. Like the peanut butter and jelly one, like that's keyframed.
Oh.
I have the bread and then the bread with the jelly on it. And I think I actually just ended up rotoscoping the jelly onto it, so it looks like he
Oh, through it right.
puts the jelly. But yeah, so the one interesting thing with the Sally, that's not Sally, definitely not Sally video, is that it's like my family really liked it. Like my family out in PA, they really liked it. We watched it, but I wanted to improve it, and so we filmed some more stuff for it. And I put some of it in, but it was like weird. And so what I ended up doing is I put the original cut, the first draft, in the description of the video that I put out, but I like reined it back a little bit, what all the editing I was trying to do, and just like kind of chilled out. And I think it was kind of the Lord like just letting me know not to try to just make it perfect or
Right.
what I think is perfect or something. And I've been running into that some. It's like sometimes it doesn't really seem like there's quite a right way, like the perfect way to like make it, and just being like, okay, this is where I have it. It runs together.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah.
Let that be.
Well, and
what it
sometimes
is.
you may not ever get a finished product if you're trying to tweak it and tweak it
Yeah.
and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it.
I don't want to get stuck in that either.
Yeah. And there's something nice to seeing growth too with a channel. So over hundreds of videos, they'll see like even just the videos you've made, you see kind of like the growth of. You probably saw that when you did your year of vlogging. Like the first vlog was waiting for the last vlog, right?
Yeah, it took me a long time. Like, I think I got it down to like 20 minutes for my first vlog,
Yeah.
or maybe it was 30. And then I think I went through the whole thing again. It took me like 4 more hours to go through it all again, and I got it down to 20 minutes or something like that. It might have been 20 to 10. And so it just took a long time to edit, but now it's, especially now,
You've done all that work. It's a lot easier.
and I know what I'm looking for, and I'm seeing things, learning different tricks to like put clips together, and I don't know, just like really just realistic logistical things of like, this has to flow into this. It's not just like this editing magic. Now there is like
Some of
like
that.
people have talents and people have like giftings from the Lord, but of course it needs to be grown. And just like with that growth that you're talking about, it's like if I hold back and like, oh, I just want it to be perfect, I might, that thing I can't put my finger on, I might never put my finger on it unless I just like let it go. And then finally 5 videos later, I'm like, that's what it is. That was the problem. Oh, this makes so much sense. I was
Right.
like jumping to this or that, or like this wasn't
Yeah, it wasn't clicking.
clicking.
Yeah.
So it's like not being afraid. It's like, what am I going to, I want to be able to make another video and not worry about the last one.
Right.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
let it go.
Present it and then to the next one. Yeah.
And it's really cool because like you've definitely improved at editing, because I think we recorded 2 videos, the cow one and the motorcycle one. Was that the same day?
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
was it that evening or the next
That evening.
That evening he edited both the videos, a rough cut, and then we watched it in the living room with all our uncles and aunts and stuff. And it was just really cool because then he got that done in time that all they could all enjoy, and it's way more fun to watch a video when like
Mhm.
a bunch of family or friends
Mhm.
are watching it with you, because you can just watch them laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like cool. But then the cow video he kind of did, and it makes a lot more sense, at least the clip I watched. But it's still cool because if he hadn't done the first edit, we wouldn't have gotten that experience to watch it with them. And so it's just cool how everything kind of works out.
Yeah.
That was another interesting thing, is like I realized there was kind of this fear of like disappointing, and I didn't even think about it, because like, oh, it's just for fun. But it's like, I was like, what if, say, and I think my aunt would be okay, it's like, what if Aunt Cindy doesn't like it?
Right.
Like, because it's like, it was the one with her husband in it, and Uncle John, he's great.
Right.
And so I was like, oh no. And I was like, but remembering that, and this kind of goes back to with like the audience, like has to be under God, like for me, because really if I'm trying to serve the audience, I'm actually doing it from a place of selfishness. And so it's not actually for them, it's for me.
Right.
I'm doing it for them, for me. And so then, they're worse off. And so just remembering that I have to do it to the Lord and not for Aunt Cindy, because it's better for Aunt Cindy,
That's
even though
another
it's a silly video.
growth thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just linked the original cut in case she liked that one better.
Right. It's
But,
there.
Also just not worrying about it.
And just keep moving forward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get to I'll get back to you, because that was really funny. The different like transitions over and over to the dog eventually, like boom.
Yeah. So that video is actually Darren's idea.
Okay.
So he had
Fully Darren's idea, or was there flavor into that as well?
I mean, there was definitely some things that we like together like worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was another one of those things where it's like somebody else, like he kind of came to me and was like, hey, here's this idea. And I was kind of like, okay, that could be funny.
It was like the second part where he's saying it. I think he's saying it to you, and then you pull your mask
Might
off.
have been
Right.
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Oh, Gabriel,
So
yeah.
it was Matthias the first time, and then
yeah.
Gabriel.
Yeah, then Gabriel.
And then...
But
then
Darren's like,
Israel.
I think this would be a funny idea. This is,
And it was funny because it was actually Darren's idea.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And so I forget how exactly it went. So he had that basic idea. I don't actually remember if the mask thing was his idea. I think it might have been. But it just like, it kept going, and we're like, what if we did it again? Like,
Right.
that'd be really funny. Like, what if this time it's a dog? So I think the addition, I think up to the therapist might have been his idea, like generically.
Mm-hmm.
And then we added again, and we're like, what if we do it one more time, except this time it's a dog?
Right.
So I just thought that was really funny.
That really added, like, as the cherry on the top.
Yeah, it's cool because it's just like you think it's going to be the same thing, but that really, averts the expectations. Is that the word?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was funny.
That's good. When you did the booch one, I was like, I went into my fridge and pulled out kombucha.
Nice.
Yeah, it made me crave one. So
Yeah,
That's
we weren't sponsored yet. But
eventually,
It's funny because I actually messaged them and was like, hey, if you want me to make a video, I could remake this and like make it.
your brand or whatever.
No, because it was actually, so Clear Mind.
Oh, okay.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah.
Clear Mind by Brew Doctor was
Yeah.
actually one of the kombuchas that like got me into kombucha.
Oh, really?
So it's not like I'm an avid drinker, but
Yeah.
like I actually enjoy.
Is he an avid drinker?
I
He drinks
re-
down the reg. Huh?
I drink kombucha now.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to be like, ugh, that's
Right.
weird. But Clear Mind and also Roxanne Miller's homemade kombucha, like
Shout to Roxanne.
Roxanne, got me onto kombucha, and so now I actually enjoy it. Even some of the stronger, like the more intense
bitter,
ones. Yeah,
like flavored ones.
it's like I'm not just like,
yeah.
so.
Do we love some booch?
So yeah, I was like, it's actually you guys that kind of got me into kombucha. So if you want to make one,
It's an ode to you.
so who knows? Maybe Lord willing someday.
Be
but-
cool. What are your? Do you guys have like a vision for?
well, I don't know. I feel like it seems we all like acting in different things. Like we almost wanted to write a musical at one point. Maybe
Oh,
we'll
wow.
still
I
try
mean, we've
that.
still got those things
But
around.
it's like I think it's just kind of like we all have hopes, and like the Lord may allow some of those to happen. But you know,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think as far as having a vision, there's not really, except just to continue to making videos and
Mhm.
whatever else comes along. But I think something that is more important, or really it's the reality. There's that verse about like, my people die for lack of vision. And people often think like, oh, that means because they don't have a plan, they don't have a goal, they're not looking forward to something. It's like, no, it's literally my people die because they can't see. They are not seeing. For lack of vision. So it's like if you're in the dark, you can't see. And so it's like being less worried about the goals that I have for the channel, or like, oh, it'd be cool to make these videos and that and like get bigger, because it's like there's actually some things we could get into a little bit later about some cool things that are happening. But focusing on I'm really
okay.
working my hands.
I need a like a not a hollow table, like a solid table, because you're not the first guest that's like, boom, yeah. They got things to say. It's a very expressive.
I got
this
things to
table's
say here.
not great.
Hey,
That's
it's what you got now.
Yeah,
it works.
It's free.
But
You do what you gotta do.
basically, focusing on having vision, which has to be Christ, has to be Jesus.
Yeah.
And so it's like always returning to that, because it's like that standard. If you don't have that foundation, that standard of reality, you're going to start being like, oh, maybe this is actually how reality works, and maybe I'll actually be fulfilled this way, but I'm only fulfilled in Christ. And so when I go to do these things like filming, I'm not seeking my fulfillment in them. And not that there aren't times where I'm going
it's
into that.
gratifying.
Not that I don't always.
You're operating your gifts, so
Yeah.
it's like it's fun.
So there's been so many times where he's refocused me. So, but yeah, it's like doing it out of a place of fulfillment instead of doing it to try to find fulfillment. And not that there isn't a part of finding fulfillment in what he's having us do, but it's coming from him having us do it and not trying to, figure out what I'm supposed to do and do it of myself, like do it of my own strength and trying to figure it all out. Because there's been so many times where I've just like asked the Lord, I was like, what should I do with this? How should I do this? Or him just being like, helping me submit to his will in different videos and like all the little things.
Yeah.
And so
You start listening to those little things, and then the big things he'll talk to you on those things too. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Start hearing his voice more. So that's really
So yeah, you don't really have a vision. Just keep creating is what I'm hearing.
pretty much.
Yeah. Do you guys have a set schedule, or is it like, are you trying to do pretty consistently, or is it as
Not at
ideas
all.
come up?
It's just like making ideas, and like I don't even try to post on a specific day, a specific time of day, nothing.
Yeah.
I just put it out. Sometimes I forget to post it. Not forget, I just like I have it there and I'm like, okay. Like I'm just not
2 days later,
focused
like,
on
I
it.
should hit public instead of it's still on private.
I think
or,
that may
yeah.
have happened once. But and it's not that I want to like try to pretend that I like, because there is this reality of like, oh, if I pretend I don't care about it, then that means it's okay and I can do it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it says like whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. So I want to do it well, and I want to post it, and if the Lord guides us into doing something more on a routine, or like, how the way he's having us do it, if he changes that, so be it. But it's like not worrying about it, but also not trying to not care about it.
Right.
If it's becoming an idol, the Lord can deal with that. He knows how to deal with that.
You're
I don't
trying
have to
find
try
that sweet spot of just doing it, enjoying it, and doing it for the Lord.
Yeah, because it can actually become an idol.
Oh yeah.
Of me trying to not have it be,
Because you've already had that experience.
so then it's my own judgment is the idol.
Yeah.
About it just all gets all messed up, and then the Lord has to still come in and be like, let me help you guys.
Yeah.
And I find it really cool because with the schedule thing, it's like I think it was around summer when we first made the videos, and we made a couple of them, but then we got like really busy, and it's like there was just a season where we weren't making them, and like part of me was like, oh, we just gotta make some because
Just gotta do it.
I really enjoyed it, but it's like there's just a little break, and then we made 2 videos, the one with your sister, and then we went out to Pennsylvania to see family, and we made 2 more, and then we got back, and I think you made like 2 more that I haven't seen yet, and then plus the drywall one. And it's just really cool how they kind of just happen.
Start to flow again.
It's like you don't really try to force it; they just happen as the Lord leads. And it's also cool because sometimes they'll make a video without you knowing, and so then you get to watch one that you weren't expecting. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that because like sometimes I'm away, I'm doing something, and I come back and I'm like, you guys made a Guhzoontyte, and then it's just fun to see what they came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun. and it definitely has been interesting with like not forcing it and then it just happening, and like, yeah, it's like, oh, we just got to make it happen. And not that there isn't resistance, but it's like there's a difference between me trying to make something happen and me and the Lord helping me push through the resistance to something that's supposed to happen.
I just came to the realization, that's going to be Gabriel, because Gabriel's out of college, so we're just going to be making some Guhzoontyte.
Yeah.
He's going to come back and find them.
I have this idea. It's like one Guhzoontyte idea I have is like, are you guys making a Guhzoontyte without me? And then like maybe they're trying to hide or something. I keep going to that, but so far it hasn't happened. Maybe it's just I don't know about it yet.
We do, so we don't have like this big thing of like all this footage, but we do have it. A lot of them are my ideas, but it used to be just my list, but then I made it so that we all have it, and so we can. It's not a huge list, but there's like a list of like funny ideas, and like we have actually made a few from the list.
Oh, nice.
Or some of them we at least like wrote down and then like made
workshopped out, talked through, and then
later. Yeah. So that's another interesting thing is like for a duel, the video a duel.
Yeah.
We actually, because it was freezing outside, Gabriel and Israel were troopers.
Yeah.
We had to like run in, I think like 2 or 3 times to like warm our hands up. And so
was it at Benton?
The funny thing is, I forget if I say this I forget if this is shown at all or if I say it in the description at all, but that clip is all facing one direction. And I just move them around to the other side of the tree. And so if you look at it, you see that the tree
is always in that spot.
It never changes orientation. You get really close to it and like he's over here and then you cut. And so it looks like you're cutting to different sides, but because there's just like this little angle, I have a little bit of wiggle room where you can't see any houses in the backyard.
And so you just play that.
So it's just that angle.
Oh my gosh.
And I just
I thought it was a park just because of the way it was shot. Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Yeah. Nope. And it worked out really well. So stuff like that. So on the topic of storyboarding, and like I'm getting more into pre-production and realizing how important it is, because it used to be like, no, if it's like really good, it'll just like happen.
Organic and
and like there is a place for that, and I'll enjoy that. I enjoy that, and I'm sure that'll continue, and in a lot of ways. But in other ways, there might be some skits that are crafted more and like more times put in on the front end. Mm-hmm. And so I'm actually working on, there's a book. I won't say what it is because I don't actually know if I'll post this, because somebody has the rights to the book or the book series for films. And I actually learned how to write scripts. It was also with Darren. And then I went home. We were just going to do a little bit of the first chapter. And so, but I went home and I just ended up writing the whole rest of the chapter. I basically just translated the book into script form.
Gotcha.
And so then started storyboarding a little bit. And then it kind of just got left for a while, like months. But just recently I started storyboarding it again. And so I think pretty soon I'll actually storyboard it the rest of the way. And I actually, Israel and Matthias and Israel's girlfriend and her mom are going to help me. I just want to get some practice framing in like a vehicle, because a bunch of the scene happens in a vehicle and I want to practice some shots. So none of that would be the final product, but it would be me.
Part of the...
part of the...
That was me that time.
Part of the process, figuring out different camera angles and different camera movements and how it would work, or if it would work at all, if it needs to be changed, or if there's better, or if it is good. So something like that. So we'll probably actually do some of that next month, because I have some of it storyboarded. And Darren did help with a lot of that first part, but I've been continuing on it and just like thinking out. There's this pretty cool channel that I found that I came across that apparently it's been a website. It's been going on for a while, but they started posting some of their stuff to YouTube to try to get more like
engagement to the website. Yeah.
And so there's some really good, like straightforward, just realistic, logical stuff about filmmaking and like why it happens certain ways, and like
how this process was created.
Yeah, like when a shoot day comes, it's like this is the order of operations. Like you get your actors and then you like block it, you run through it, and you're all the way down to like actually shooting it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is like a whole process. This is real work.
Mm-hmm.
It actually takes time. And so like part of that is having your script and actually having a storyboard, having a shot list, understanding what the characters are going through, what their motivation is. Even though it seems really simple, like, okay, what does this character want in this situation?
Right.
It's like, okay, that's simple. They want this. It's like, that's important because that tells you certain things about how you can move the camera. And like the thing with the camera being a character, basically, it's the audience. And so it's like when somebody speaks over here,
You want to like look and
so like when we go back and forth,
Right.
Matthias, like I'm talking,
Yeah.
and then you talk,
Yeah.
he looks to you, or sometimes he'll look over to you to see your reaction
Right.
before I'm finished speaking.
Whoa.
And so it's like something like that in a
camera,
movie.
right? Camera
It's like,
setting.
oh, that makes so much more sense. There's something called the J cut where, say, they're looking at me, and then I stop talking, and you start talking, and then the camera switches to you. Because the
Gotcha.
audio starts of you before the shot of you starts.
Mhm.
It's called a J cut. And the reverse is an L cut,
Oh,
where
okay.
I keep talking, it looks to you, then I finish talking while
Oh,
looking at you.
interesting.
And so it's just really simple stuff. It's like, oh, if I just treat the camera like it's a character, like it's looking here and then it's looking there, it's like, oh, what's the next? What am I supposed to be looking at? What's important?
Right.
And so it's like leading this all around and blocking. It's like, even though sometimes people stand in like a big circle, you can't do that on camera because
Right.
it's a story. And so
Right.
you have to stage people and kind of cheat things. And like,
So you
so it's
make
like,
it
oh yeah,
look
they're
like
in it. They're in a circle.
Right. But in
like,
reality, it's
You can,
yeah.
you need to be able to get your shots, and the shots have to kind of match what's going on so it's more understandable.
Right.
So it's like, oh, this is straightforward. This is like real logic.
Right.
And so I actually contacted 2 possible places for filming locations. That's
No
the
way.
first time I've done that. It's the first time I've contacted an actual establishment. Like one is a venue
Nice.
in Bristol, I think.
Yeah.
And so it matches one of the locations really well. And so I contacted them, and it would actually cost money. And so I'm not making, especially because this would be a fan film, I'm not making any money from it.
Right.
But I'd like to be able to pay my actors and be able to pay my crew and be able to, the venue, of course, pay them.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, it's like, all right, Lord, like, what do you have for that? Because firstly, I know I can't just jump into like paying people all this money,
Right.
but like also realizing it's real work. and
Right.
it requires real effort. And so it's like, I want to encourage that, even if it's just like minimum wage.
Right.
It's like, it'd be really cool
We
to
still
be able
value
to like,
you.
yeah, pay somebody to do that. And then I was also looking into like different like child labor laws for like film, because it's like 2 of the characters are like 11 and 13. And so I was like, okay, if I am actually like doing this and actually want to cast actual actors,
Right.
then you start, it's not just like your little, and not that Israel's very little
I mean,
anymore.
he's not 11 or 13.
He's like 16.
Yeah. He's got a girlfriend.
And so
Should talk about that. No.
just realizing that it's like, oh, like this is where it starts. Kind of the same thing with removing the knife from the one skit and with just seeking the Lord on before being on a podcast. It's like wanting the Lord to be the attention, because otherwise, like the Lord to lead it and be in it, because otherwise I won't have peace. And I don't
And that's
I don't care.
big. It's huge if you don't have peace going into this thing. Then you're just running and chasing after something that maybe not even the Lord's in. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
nuts.
Nobody, and it's like the Lord has worked in giving me more of an understanding of this, but nobody can give me peace except the Lord. And so that means there's nothing that I can do apart from him that will give me fulfillment or peace. And so that's like huge. That's huge to realize. And not that I don't get off track all the time, but it's like he's faithful to bring me back
Right.
and teach me and correct me and just continue to be who he is. So, yeah, it was just another one of those things where it's like, I still can't think of how the
It's
verse
the
goes.
next. It's the next level.
Yeah, it's
It's
like,
the next level.
don't be
So if you're faithful
ashamed of
here-
small beginnings, or however that verse goes.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's always going to be growing. And so before you know it, it's like, there might be that point where it's like, oh yeah, the world might say like, oh, now they made it or something.
Right.
But no.
Yeah, you made it way
'Cause
back then.
There's still growth
Right.
that can come after that, and this only was just another step of the growth.
Yeah.
Because of all this,
You're seeing the fruit of the seed planted here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now.
Every step is important,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how small it is. And it sounds so funny to like say that because they're like, you know, people talk about the journey and all that, but it's true. It's real.
Yeah.
Like actually, like this right here is a real moment, and people are like, oh no, until they have like a bajillion listeners, they're not valid or something.
Yeah.
But that's not
No, it's
true.
yeah, it's crazy. The amount of stories I get from just this podcast, sitting with people and hearing things. It's like, okay, I could interview, maybe I could interview people who have, you know, had success at this point of life that everyone's trying to interview them. But I get great stories from individuals who everyone has a story, you know, and it's like, dude, I can't believe this. And I've never knew this. And oh my word, you did that. Like, and they're living in our community and they're around us and just like, they're an electrician. Yeah, I mean, are you an electrician?
Yeah.
Hey, they're cool. Yeah, I was talking to this guy. He's an electrician, and then he's like, "Yeah, I busked, and I built this like VW van, and it ran off of like just vegetable oil, and then I just toured around the West Coast." I'm like, "What?"
That's quite a story.
Yeah, no, I'm an electrician. I'm like, dude, that sounds sick. But you don't get that until you sit down and you start talking with someone. And everyone I talk to, not a lot of people have stories. A lot of people are very, you know, there's interesting things happening all around us, you know, and there's something to like physically sitting in a space and having a conversation and being intentional about it, putting on the headphones, being like locked in. So it's cool.
My ears getting like,
I know.
Yeah.
We're at an hour.
oh man, what?
Dude, right?
How long did it go then? Normally.
Typically, an hour, a little past an hour.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have more stuff you want to talk about.
Well, just one thing that actually came to mind because Matthias is an electrician. So we make these skits. Matthias is an electrician. I've actually been on, I was a soldier in a flashback scene of a proof of concept piece. I went out to Massachusetts to film it. It was an unpaid role, but the amount that I learned and saw was spectacular. Like, because it was nothing like it wasn't a huge set or anything. It was literally just like a cliff in Rockport, Massachusetts, and it was a really small cast, a really small crew. It was, you know, just a one-day shoot.
Yeah.
But I met all these great people that I still have connections with.
Yeah.
And so I, before that and after that, have been building fences and decks and just learning to do hard work, which is hard.
Yeah.
And so just realizing how much it all goes together, it can be so easy to be like, I'm not doing anything. It's like, I really want to be doing whatever, this thing over here, but I'm stuck doing this thing. But just realizing how important it is and how many ways I'm being prepared if the Lord does have this other thing for me through working hard, because this other thing that I think that I really want to do, which maybe I do, and that's fine, it also takes hard work, and work is all work.
Right.
It's like we think it's so different doing this or doing that.
No, you
And
gotta grind through it.
Yeah, there is a reality of us being made differently and having different giftings, and so it's like the Lord's not going to put me in something He didn't give me, like at least some sort of way to do it. Like, so I'm in building fences and decks, and there's actually a lot of fulfillment in that, but not from the work itself, from doing it unto the Lord and like working hard. And like, I think we've all been learning to work hard,
Yeah.
still learning. But yeah, just that reality of how important it is to look to the Lord and learn to be content in where He has us.
Yeah.
And it's actually through where He has us that He'll get us
To the next.
to those other things, and not by like, oh, I just need to get rid of it and like start this, because there's so many ways He's preparing me with this, like whether it's communication, just learning to work hard and get through like difficult things that aren't as fun. But also, like, the interesting thing is actually starting to get to a place where I was like, maybe I really could build decks for the rest of my life. And like being content with that, because oftentimes I found where it's like, and not that it's like, if you just hurry up and start feeling content, then I'll move you on to the next thing. It's not that. but it's like starting to really, he's working that contentment in me and working hard. And then also like bringing about these other things. Like I was just realizing one last sort of like thing
Go for it.
is sometimes it can, like this last week or two, it just struck me as like I could fall into believing that my world is falling apart, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now
Oh yeah.
in life. Like I'm sure there's
Yeah.
numerous things that are going on in your life. Like, you know, there's
Yeah.
family, there's work, there's different spiritual things that the Lord is walking us through. And it's like a lot of it is difficult and like valid, like difficult, like it's real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all sorts of things, you know, finances also, like all these different things. And like, of course, the Lord is our caretaker and he's our provider. And so we don't actually need to fear, but that doesn't mean we don't fall into worrying about all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so it was just so interesting because I'm like storyboarding and looking at these venues and like, wow, it's like, I don't know where I'll be living next month because I'm hoping to move in with my family because we're renting a house and we're buying a house, my oldest brother and his wife, and we're going to possibly move in with them.
Right.
But
if you can get all the drywall.
yeah,
You guys keep on breaking it and busting through and whatnot, but yeah.
And so, but I might end up somewhere else.
Right.
So there's just, you know, lots
A lot
of different things going on.
uncertainty, yeah.
And so it's just interesting because it's like still pursuing these things, even though like in a worldly sense, you could think, oh, but like I don't have a solid foundation. I don't have a house that I own and I'm not, you know, I don't have my studio and I don't have my all these different things. It's like, no, but the Lord is our foundation. And so on that, it's like you don't have to worry about all the waves crashing in.
There's going to be storms no matter what.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whether you have that stuff or not, right?
Yeah.
The foundation.
With our worldly understanding, with our like understanding apart from the Lord, it's like, oh no, I need to be like this or like that before I can do this. But he's like, no. And I think even people who aren't Christians kind of get to a point where they realize, wait a minute, this other stuff doesn't stop, and they just kind of like go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that the Lord gets a hold of them too. But
yeah.
It's just interesting. It's
I also have
oh,
the courage to do the same thing. Well, how much more so if you have a foundation? Can you just keep on going forward?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to people who are like, yeah, I'll just risk it. Let's go for it. You know,
it's been really encouraging because it's like, oh, but I'm not good enough, or I'm not
yeah,
whatever enough. And it's like, when did the Lord ever say that I'm supposed to be whatever enough before he can allow me to do this or bring this to me or have, you know, walk me through this?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's not about that.
And he's probably giving you dreams and visions to do stuff too. So why not go after them?
Yeah.
If he's
like,
giving them to
all
you.
right.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, it's interesting because I want to go back to the planting seeds thing, because like when the Lord prepares us for, he's going to give us the skills and things we need to do his will. Like he's not going to have us, I want you to do this thing in life, but you can't do it because you have no idea how. And so I just think it's interesting because like when I was younger, like in high school, I really liked acting and stuff. I really liked music. And it's like I wanted to be on Broadway or something like that, do like ballerina dancing or something cool. But it was like that's not really what the Lord had. And then I kind of got into homesteading. But then it's just interesting because like he had me be an electrician right now. And like that's not something I thought would happen. And I'm like, for a while I was struggling, like, why is this what you have for me? Like, I really wanted to do these things or these things. It's just not what I envisioned, but his vision is way better. And so like we bought this house as a family, or are buying, and it's like we remodeled basically the whole thing to the studs overall. The kitchen and living room we didn't do.
A little bit about it.
Yeah. But then it's like he gave me these skills to be able to help my family, and it's like there's all these things that we don't see that he's preparing and doing. And it's the same way with the acting and as kids, we did all these things. We listened to audiobooks. We all read the book series that he's doing. Like we've all read it. Like maybe not read it, but we've listened to the audiobooks a lot. Like for a while, like 7 years in a row for Christmas, we listened through the whole series. And it's like recently I read through the whole book series. And so it's just interesting how if that's something he has for us, he's going to prepare us. Yeah. And it's just interesting to see the little things where like we've all read the book and we all, I don't know, it's just cool because even if it's
things are lining up in
even if it's not what he has, it's just nice to know that he's preparing us for what his will. And so like that makes life a lot more like to be at peace and things where I wanted to homestead, but we're going to live in town. But it's like,
You can still homestead in town.
yeah, it's like I can use the land, the little amount of land we have.
You should come
in
see my
full.
garden in the back and my chickens.
But it's crazy because like
With this.
we always wanted a bunch of land, but it's like then we didn't use the yard because it was all grass and we didn't actually own it.
Right.
So, but now that we're going to own it, like I have blackberry plants and I'm going to get some more berries. And so it's like, it's in a way it's closer than I've ever been to homesteading, even though from the worldly view, it almost seems like I'm far from it. So it's just cool that the Lord works.
Putting all those things together. Dude, electricity is literally magic. I don't understand it. Where does it come from? Where does it go?
Yeah, it's complicated.
It's complicated. What is it?
It's electrons.
Created from what? Friction and
all I know it's electrons.
there's wizards out there that are sending it, and then it's powering these things. And I use it every day, and I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah. So all the atoms have electrons, and so then they just kind of float around.
And then now we can play video games on them.
Yep.
Yeah, see, it's magic. So, anyways, I love it.
There's this one saying or thing. It's like you're not always going to be doing what like the big thing God has for you, but every part of getting to that is super important. Like character building, like that type of thing. Or like you can't do the big thing without first being an electrician, learning the hard work of that, or
So true.
on the journey.
That's the skyscraper. That's the 1/3 below. That's the character building. Yeah.
And it's really cool because with remodeling this house, there's a lot of skills none of us had. And so it's like now we're going to be better husbands, Lord willing, one day. Because it's like now we know how to fix a bunch of things, plumbing, electricity. It's like we didn't know that if we wouldn't have put
Got
a lot
into
of
it.
hard work and learned it. So it's a great opportunity that it gave us to learn.
That's awesome.
Kind of going back to like the pre-production for a duel was the first one we kind of storyboard, did a very rough just like what lines and what we'd say. We'd always be like, wait, what do I say again? Because you didn't like have time to memorize it really.
It was just like the first half that we
So I'm like really excited to start on this like with the script and everything and actually memorize something for a video. And I think one thing that really will help us is since we've know the characters so much, we've listened to the book series so much that we just kind of like what are the characters' motivations, and like how they say that. So like just within like producing it, we can be like, just know the character.
Can I embody it? Because you know what they're, the whole scope of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, in this moment, what am I actually focusing towards? I dig it.
Yeah. So it's not just like another, and not that I've really had any job, like filming jobs. Not people don't come to me and like, hey, would you film this? And like, whatever.
Just school projects.
So
no big deal.
yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Gabriel,
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched that. That was
sort of
awesome.
Yeah. You could link that too.
I should link that. Yeah. Shout
But
to
yeah, that one was interesting. That was really cool because it was just kind of like, okay, he wanted to make a music video, and so he actually did come to me, but of course, he didn't come to me with money.
Yeah.
Hey, would you like? It was great for me because, and so I just kind of at first it was weird because I got there and I was like, how do I direct these two people that aren't my siblings?
Right.
Especially because I'm like outnumbered. Like
Right.
I've got Gabriel, but then I've got two other people.
Yeah, it's 2v2.
Like, how do I do this? And so at first, I was like not trying to push it, just like getting into it.
Yeah. Government cheese. Right?
Yeah. And so it started out simple, and then I was like, oh, hey, what if we do this? And like they would have some ideas, like how about this? And so
Fall into the water.
and it just
do
all
this
came
thing.
together, and I just kept editing it. And like when the editing came, just running through it, and like, okay, this could go here. Like, oh, that doesn't quite work. All that thing it was just a really cool learning experience.
That's cool when you take a step back. That is another step of growth that
It
is
really
different
is.
from what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was cool though. Yeah. It was very enjoyable.
it's cool. A lot of old people at like school and stuff saw it on Facebook and they're saying it to him. And
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's cool. Sorry, you were saying something.
Oh, I was just the book series. So like I think I
You
mentioned.
have to tell me off air.
I will. I actually have the script and the storyboard. So I'll show it to you.
Okay.
But without giving away too many details, because I don't know if I'll actually post it. So the weird thing is the idea of like us, because I feel like a lot of my family would be part of like the core team. I have thought a couple of things about like starting a production company, sort of like a production group. Like that was another thing. I'm actually going to be meeting with some people who are sort of in that same vein, and I was kind of setting up that by God's grace while there was also a bunch of stuff going on, and it was the same thing of like life doesn't stop, and like that's also a part of life. So, but the idea of like me and like my family actually working on creating this, it's a pretty big book series, like. And I think I had been in pre-production by other people, at least one person. So somebody has the rights to at least the first book series. There's like 2 series that kind of go together. And so just the idea that in the future, like we could actually be the ones making it is like kind of crazy. And like from this standpoint is really completely unrealistic. Like there's no way that we would be able to do that. Like if I went and tried to do it right now, it couldn't happen.
Yeah. Right.
But if the Lord wills it, it could be
something cool.
Yeah. But if it doesn't, there's also just so much I've been learning through like the making the script and storyboarding that it's also worth it.
Yeah.
And he'll have something better for us anyways.
Yeah. And we'll all enjoy doing it for fun.
Yeah. So basically we're going to film the first chapter of the first book.
Okay.
And we're like, I want to do it all the way. Like I'm thinking of filming it next summer. So they're helping with like getting that shot stuff, and I'm sure they'll help with other things, like running stuff by them. But I'd like to actually get like actual actors and pay them and get sort of a small crew, which might actually be a bunch of my family and might be a few of the people I'm meeting with.
I can be the lighting crew.
The electrician is going to come in handy.
Yeah.
Who knows? But so yeah, it's just interesting because I don't know, 5 or 10 years, maybe it could actually be something that happens. And like The Chosen, it's like they started really small their first season, and like the Lord blessed them, and like they've grown. That growth comes about, especially if you're doing what the Lord has for you. He'll bring about as much growth as He sees fit.
Right.
Because all we can do is plant and water. He has to bring about the growth.
Right.
So, yeah,
that's awesome.
It's crazy that could be a possibility.
Oh wow. Well, let's wrap this up because now I want to look at this stuff. So we gotta close this so I can look at it. Where can people find you? You know, what's like if you want to do social media or if you just want to plug just the YouTube video. I mean, they will be in the show notes, but I'll put all this stuff underneath. Yeah. So there, and I'm sure anything I don't think of will be in the description. I'll figure it out with you. Yeah. But Guhzoontyte, that's the YouTube. There's also a Guhzoontyte spelled the same way. It's just that for the username on Instagram. Cool. So there's not a whole lot of stuff on there. I put a little bit on there sometimes. But I mean, and also if people, I don't know if anybody in your audience is like interested in these types of things that lives around here. If they want to, I don't know, connect or what's a good way for them to connect with you? Yeah. So I think there's probably just my email. Okay. And we'll link that. It's sethdanielc@gmail.com. Perfect. So people can get a hold of me that way. That's more like my professional whatever. Yeah. So and I might there might be some other links, but you can we'll give it, go check them out. They're in the show notes.
And in our cousin's YouTube channel. Yes. I want to link that because it's really cool because he's kind of started from what he saw us do, and then it really encouraged us to keep going. Yeah. It was really fun to do it with him. So
yeah, he's like a one-man crew. He gets his daughter sometimes to like film it, but he like edits it on his phone. Oh wow. Which is actually really impressive. I'm not sure what he uses, but it's like it's hard to edit on a phone. Yeah. And so he just does that, and he's added like he like records stuff over it and different things. And so it's really funny because it might not look as fancy as some of like our videos because I have I guess you could almost say a background in like editing. Right. I'm so sorry. But it's just like he's working with what he's got. Right. And so that's really cool. It's inspiring to see. Yeah. And a lot of fun to get together. That's awesome. Well, cool. Guys, thanks so much for coming on. This has been a blast. Yeah, check out their YouTube videos for sure. Guhzoontyte on YouTube. Guys, we'll catch you on the next Timonspodcast. Peace.
All right, see ya.
Bye.